Hi, my name's Don Johnston. I own DCI Motorsports. We are located in Randolph, Ohio, a little suburb of Atwater, Ohio. I started my business in 1980-81 out of my basement of an apartment whenever my wife and I first got married, so I've been in business 42 years now. Anyway, what we're doing is we're trying to create a YouTube presence, and our mission is to educate and entertain at the same time. What we're going to do is we're going to create videos on engines we build, dyno tuning that we do. Our company does a lot of things. I've got a great team that helps me with all these projects, and what we're trying to do is grow to the next level. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to video a 1967 Firebird owned by an employee of mine, Brandon Devies. It has an engine in it that he built, and I designed the cylinder heads for. We sell our own cylinder heads, intake manifolds, valve covers. We do a lot of things with Pontiacs. We're a Pontiac specialist. We do other makes and brands, not just Pontiacs either. So, you know, we're currently under contract to do a 71 Challenger resto mod for a guy. We've got several projects coming down the path that we're going to take videos and share on YouTube with you guys. So today, though, what we're going to show you is the torque and horsepower. This is the engine of Brandon Devies in his 67 Firebird. Makes on 91 octane pump gas. This is a street car. He drives it on the street. It runs on regular pump fuel. You can buy it Marathon or Speedway or wherever you buy your gas at, and makes incredible horsepower for what it is, and it's because of the cylinder head design. These cylinder heads are called tunnel ports, and what Pontiac had done is they copied Ford's tunnel port head, and of course they called it a different name. They called it a ram air 5. Some guys will argue with me about that, but that's what Pontiac called it, as a ram air 5. Pontiac Motor Division through the years had different levels of performance engines, starting at a ram air 1 clear up to the ram air 5. And the ram air 5 was never available over in a factory automobile. You had to buy it over the counter and then have a dealer install it, or you could install it yourself if you bought the parts and put it on your own engine. So anyhow, today we're going to dyno one of those combos that I redesigned the cylinder head for, and we pretty much copied the factory tunnel port head, but I put it on steroids. We raised the intake, we raised the exhaust ports, we made the ports more efficient so they have a quicker flow rate, better discharge. The combustion chamber is better designed, so it doesn't require as much timing. And you guys, for the size of the port, watch the size of the port on this, or look at the size of the port on this intake. These ports are huge on these heads, but the throttle response is absolutely phenomenal. All right, so what we're going to do is we're getting ready to dyno Brandon Devies' 1967 Firebird. It's got a factory block, Pontiac 455 2-bolt main block with a forged 4.5-inch stroke Eagle crank in it. It's got Eagle H-beam connecting rods in it, forged connecting rods, and it has a Ross forged piston. The bore and stroke of this engine is 4.5 inches stroke, and it has a 4250 bore. Now, how we attained the 4250 bore with a factory block is we filled the block with hard block up to about the middle of the freeze plugs on the side of the block. You don't need to fill the block completely up. All you're doing is trying to reduce a little bit of flex with a hard block so the cylinder doesn't crack. A lot of you are going to say, oh, 2-bolt main, how are you making that live? Well, with Pontiac engine blocks, they have dowel pins in them and they have a 1/2-inch bolt. So the cap is a little more secure than like it is for a small block or a big block, even a big block Chevy. Chevy engines and Ford engines, well, not all Ford engines, but most Ford engines don't have a dowel pin. So when you have a dowel pin in the cap, it keeps the cap from walking around. You just have to make sure it's secure, and with a 1/2-inch bolt you can do that. I don't remember if Brandon put a stud in this or not, but did you put a stud? Okay, we do have an ARP stud in it, but it is 2-bolt main. Has a factory cast cap on it still too. Now you're going to see this engine's going to rev like no other Pontiac you've ever seen. These cylinder heads that I designed are capable of 9,000 RPM. This particular combo, we rev it to about 7,300. Most Pontiac engines with a factory round port or D-port head are typically capable of 52 to 6,000 RPM. If you port the heads, you can get them up around maybe 65. Some guys say they're revving them to 7,000, and I'm sure I'm going to get flack on that, telling me they do it all the time, and that's okay. I believe them. But anyway, these heads definitely are capable of 7,000 plus RPM. The combination of this engine here has got a set of the DCI Ram Air 5 cylinder heads or tunnel port head on it that Brandon did a little bit of bowl work too, and we gasket matched, and they flow roughly 430 CFM at around 800 inches of lift. They have a 280 intake valve and they have a 169 exhaust valve in them. The compression on this engine, this is a pump gas deal. It runs on 91 octane fuel. Same fuel you can go down to the station and buy from Marathon, Speedway, wherever you buy your fuel. But it is 11-to-1 compression, but with aluminum head you can run 11-to-1 on pump gas. The cam in this engine is a custom ground by LSM Engineering, and it's 268, 284 at 50 on a 106 lobe separation, and it has a 480 hydraulic slower ramp lobe on it. We designed the rocker arm for this. Harlan Sharp made these for us. It is a 1.85 ratio rocker arm, which gives you roughly right around 890 thousandths inches of lift. Now, yeah, we drive this car on the street, and yes, that is a lot of lift. But because of the way I designed the rocker arm, your X and Y travel is limited, so the push rod doesn't flex quite like it does with most high lift combinations. The timing set at 35 degrees total. Carburetors are a couple of quick fuel 850 CFM double pumper carburetors. It's on our cast intake that we designed. It's a low profile design, and this is not optimum for what we're doing here. For the cylinder head, I should say. The reason I designed the intake manifold the way I did it is because we wanted to make this thing so it could fit under most factory hoods. So it's got a flat top on it currently, and with no spacer underneath the carburetors or underneath the plenum top. We are making other tops, billet tops for these that we can run Dominators. We can configure this intake any way you want. I just wanted to mention that real quick. But back to the tops. We're doing a billet top with 2 Dominators on it. We're going to test on this same engine later. We have a billet top for 2 4150 style carburetors on it. And but we can also make tops for this thing for superchargers, like a root style supercharger. We can do a tri-power configuration. We can do fuel injection. We're also designing a stack independent runner injection system for these cylinder heads. A lot of products coming out for these in the near future. So anyhow, what we're going to do is we're going to fire this thing up, let it warm up a little bit. We're going to take you guys on a journey with the dyno test here. You can see the horsepower and torque this thing's making at the rear tire, and the RPM range that it's in. Now notice on this thing, whenever we run this, pay attention to how fast this engine revs, and then look at the size of the intake port runner on these heads. Big ports can rev fast, but they have to be designed properly.